Welcome to A Rare Reality, a podcast powered by Jordan's Guardian Angels. I'm Christina Janes, Director of Outreach and Content Development for JGA, and we're excited. This season is so fun because we are chatting all about our family stories, and today I'm joined with Ashley Lightaul. Ashley, I'm so excited because you get to be our first to really tell us your story and talk about Sweet Ivy and your family and everything you've been through. So thank you for spending some time today.
Yes. I'm so glad to be here and share my story. I just find that that's what I want to know most is my friends and their stories about their children. So
Right.
yay, thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
And that's kind of what we hoped was that, out of telling our stories and talking about, what you've been through and where you're going, that hopefully we can all help each other because that would be, the hope in all of this. One caveat for all our listeners, if you hear a lawnmower in the background, it's at my house. I'm hoping that he'll be done soon. So hopefully you won't hear it at all. But if you do, I'm sorry. So
Same thing here. If you hear my dog, I apologize in advance, but
right?
The dog very well could be barking and making noises throughout this.
I very often say, I'm like, if you hear screaming, it's just my kids and they're fine. They're just, doing something that they shouldn't be doing, but we'll get there.
But they're safe, right?
Yeah, everybody's safe and everybody's good. So anyway, all right. Well, let's get going. I want to talk all about Miss Ivy. She's
Sure.
so sweet. Tell us about her currently. How old is she?
Okay.
What's she into?
She is 4 years old. She is into my dog. Like my dog is her best friend. We were very hesitant about getting a pet dog. We really didn't want one in the family, but she follows Lexi around. Lexi follows her around. She jumps on her. She feeds her scraps continuously. So
Yeah.
Ivy's best friend is definitely our pet dog who gives us a run for our money. And there are days in which we're not sure if that pet dog fits our family, but it's staying because of Ivy.
That's
her
the thing,
second,
the sacrifice. It's like sometimes I don't know if this is such a great idea, but we're just gonna go with it anyway. It's fine.
yes. Her second best friends that she loves to pieces are her brothers. So my 10-year-old is Lucas and he's in 5th grade. And Cody is 8 years old and he's in 3rd grade. And Lucas and Cody are wonderful with Ivy.
They're so big. I can't believe how,
Yeah.
I mean, you blink and I'm like, already? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It goes fast.
And they are so good with her. When we interviewed you guys at the last family conference, I mean, they were so patient and so sweet.
Yes. And that's where there's no training involved. It just amazes me how they pick up and they just adapt to her needs and where she's at. Lexi will bark a lot in the house. The loud noise upsets her. They'll go over and console her. It's okay, Ivy. They'll move the dog away. Same thing. The vacuum, lawnmower. You never know what you're going to get with loud noises here and reactions.
Yeah, pretty amazing though. I mean, it's incredible that just the intuitive response from siblings. It's so special. Yeah. It's really wonderful. I'm going to get to your diagnosis and all of that in a second, but
Sure.
Some of our families do ask the question about having a pet in the house and what a difference it makes. So since you brought up Lexi, are you seeing that that's made a huge difference? And, I know they're best friends, but has that made a real difference in who Ivy is too?
Yes, I would say yes. In fact, I posted a video on one of the Facebook pages of Ivy and Lexi and their interactions, maybe last week or the week before, just kind of showing if somebody is hesitant. Yes, I think it has helped her mobily because she will move from Spot to Lexi. She just started walking like 2 months before her 4th birthday and she turned 4 in February. So she still doesn't go long distances, but she will go from the couch to the dog or the dog to her room. So, Lexi is kind of served as a stepping stone for Ivy in her movement. I would say definitely, yeah, she really has helped out Ivy. We don't go outside of the home with the dog, but mainly it's helped me inside of the home, just washing dishes, putting my laundry away. I know that the dog is there with Ivy and it almost occupies her in timing. It really helps me out with timing and occupancy of just keeping her busy.
All right. So it's a vote for yes for, because I know that some of our families are like, I don't know, do we have time for this? Do we want it? But I love to hear that, because again, that's going to help at some point. It'll help somebody else make a decision too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So take us back 4 years ago. Your diagnosis. I know it's not fun to dredge it all up, right? But
Sure.
it's, you have these two healthy, happy boys.
Of
You're
course.
excited to welcome a little girl on the way, and
Yes.
she comes into this world. Tell us about what your story's like.
Sure. So I find that my birthing story is nothing compared to others when I would look and see and hear about others and share the responses. So I was full term pregnancy, no complications. My baby was moving. I had a vaginal delivery. Nothing red flagged us at all. At first, she was having trouble latching on for nursing. That was one minor thing, excuse me. It wasn't even major, but she never went to the NICU. Her APGAR scores were well. She was with me at all times. When I look back, the only thing I really noticed was the inability for her to latch on, which we did a little bit of training and then she was able to do it.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until I was with my mother, we were on vacation and we were just watching her like something is different.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. She couldn't hold her head up high. I would lay her down for tummy time. She could not tolerate it. She would just cry. I'd lift her right up. Again, it was right during COVID. So I had her in February. Everything was okay. And then, we were all just home and I didn't really have anything to compare her to other than my other two children who were also boys. And it was a while, years before.
Yeah.
I would Google a lot. I didn't know what was different about Ivy.
Right.
So I would Google a lot. I really thought she had cerebral palsy for a long time. I thought she had CP. And I was talking to her therapist. She started with PT. That was the first therapy she started at about 8 months old. I think it was 7, 8 months old, because the sitting, the head, the tummy time, like all those gross motor skills really stood out to me.
Yeah.
And that's what I noticed.
That was first and foremost that stood out to you.
Yes. So I am in Syracuse, New York, and there's not a local children's hospital here. And then we ended up going, my husband and I, to Rochester. Rochester's like well known. We went to Rochester Pediatric Neurology. They did the genetic testing, the first level of testing. Everything came back normal. They kind of described it to me as a library. So we're testing your library to see if all your books are there. Like, okay, great. That came back normal. I'm like, but no, something's still off.
Try again.
Then they told me, the next level of testing, I can't even remember the terminology. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But when I did the next level of testing, they explained it as, now we have your library. We're going to open your books. We're going to look at all the books and look at the genes and see if anything else is going on.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was hesitant. I almost didn't do that level of testing.
Yeah.
And then my mom and I said, yeah, let's go. Let's do it. So I really was expecting them to call me back and say that nothing was founded as if it was before. But they called back and they said, here's the good news, PPP, 2R5D, Jordan syndrome. They didn't really give me a lot of information.
Right.
What was the most helpful was they gave me the Facebook page and the website.
Is mind-blowing on so many levels. And you are not the first to say that. I mean, so many families have said, we got our diagnosis, our doctors didn't know anything about it. And they said, but there's this Facebook page. I mean, thank goodness for Nancy and Carol and the whole group who initially started this years and years and years ago, so that everybody would have the opportunity to get together and have some information. I mean, it's mind-blowing that Facebook is the answer,
I know. I mean, I knew nothing. So then I was looking up Jordan. I was Googling everything. I mean, honestly, I don't think I realized at first that the 2R5D was the same as Jordan syndrome, right? I didn't realize that they were all under the same terminology umbrella. I thought it was two separate things. Oh, and the main thing that really I noticed was the low muscle tone, the hypotonia. That was what, like I was saying before with the gross motor, that was the most apparent thing in Ivy as an infant. So, of course, what do? I go online and I message Carol, as I believe most everybody has done as well.
Carol's overflowing inbox, you know?
Yes, yes. So I'm like, looking on Carol's page. I'm looking at Yara. I'm looking at just the physical features. I'm trying to compare pictures to my Ivy and anything that I could connect to. And Carol and I had a conversation the next day. I still don't believe that I knew the severity of what I had for the rest of our life.
Yeah.
I remember just asking her simple questions, right? Like, does she have friends? Is Yara going to school? And just those basic wants, needs of a child. I still didn't realize the whole longevity of what's next, what's to come.
Right. Right. And I think that that's the part that really gets you at that point where you think, oh, now I understand. Okay, now I see what this path looks like. And it's a varied path for so many families. I mean, there's so many different variations on the theme. But also, you know, there's a lot to handle. There's a lot to handle there. And it can be a pretty heavy feeling for many of you.
Absolutely. And you have your good days and you have your bad.
Yeah. And talk through that a little bit, because I think, you know, a lot of people feel like, oh, we can't talk about the bad days. We can't talk about that. We have to look at the good days and everything's fine and we're good. But like in typical life, there are bad days, right? I mean, that's just life. But sometimes bad days are harder when you have a child who needs a little extra help, right?
Yes, yes. I'm a very optimistic person, just myself. So I'm just happy, not happy, bubbly. I'm just pretty outgoing. I am a teacher. I work with children. I talk to a lot of people. So even on my bad days, I just really try to look at the best in everything. So what is the hardest for me is when I'm with some of my close friends who have children that are younger than Ivy, who are talking in sentences, jumping up and down, running around, just showing you really the discrepancy between typical development and those who don't reach our milestones, right? Those who have a disability, and it's harder for Ivy to accomplish the things that my friends' children are. So I think that really is my hardest struggle. We get together with friends and family, and I compare Ivy to those children, because who doesn't compare their children to others?
Right.
I don't have any hard days medically that others are facing. I think of the seizures every day. I monitor for that. She's not on any medication. She's able to walk now. So I feel that my hard days aren't as hard as others that are facing. And I just think about that all the time. And my hard days are really just comparing her to my friends' children.
Yeah.
She goes to a preschool. They're fantastic. I wasn't sure if she should go to a preschool with other kids. It's a far bus ride. And will they take care of her? And everything has been wonderful.
And she gets on the bus and goes?
She goes with me in the morning. So she goes in my vehicle, because I live about 45 minutes from where her preschool is.
Yeah.
So she goes with me halfway to my work at my elementary school. Her bus picks her up there and transport her to preschool. She goes to her preschool from about 8:30 to 11:30, gets back on the bus, and then they bring her to her daycare.
That's so great.
Yes.
I mean, talk about the independence of that. It's amazing.
And I was hesitant at first. Can she go on the bus? Can she go to preschool? No, we've been in our daycare, and that's fantastic. There's only 4 children, and that's where she's been all this time. So I really loved it. And I'm like, oh, I really would like Ivy to stay with Carmi. She's like a grandmother. She takes care of her. But I know that the next step really for gaining Ivy's independence, getting her therapy, and going to the next level was pushing her out the door to preschool. And we've made that leap, and now she's done it for this year, and now we're talking about next year. Okay, she can't go to daycare. Now she has to go to preschool
Yeah.
for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
And
It's
all her
happening though.
therapies are there, OT, PT, speech. She has therapy every day, and they are wonderful. The communication that they have, the patients, her bus monitor is the most fantastic person I've ever met with Ivy. And you just wouldn't have even thought about that
Yeah.
before.
That's the thing, is that through hard times, I always feel like you meet these incredible people. We've had a team of people behind our oldest and through his struggles,
Yes.
and you meet these wonderful people who you just know that you are going to love forever because of the things that they've done for your children and the way that they treat them like their own. And as a parent, they're safe and they have this
Yes.
team of people around them that are helping and lifting them up. And it's just, I've so many times it gives me chills and makes me want to cry because I'm like, there are so many special people in this world that you would never meet unless you were going through something that maybe you don't really want to go through, but
Right.
look who you've met, you know? I
Right.
mean,
Right. I think that's the biggest thing is
yeah,
perspective. My
sure.
my husband's our perspective on life is different.
Yeah.
And those that may come and have problems, we just look at each other like thinking, is that really a problem
Yeah.
though? Right? Like there are more things to face in this world.
Yep.
And Ivy brings a tremendous amount of joy to everybody she's around.
Yeah. That little smile. Oh my gosh. I was like,
And
Mom, you're in trouble.
and there's a sassy side. So
Yeah.
the older she gets, the more I can see receptively what Ivy knows.
Yeah.
Cognitively, she has some really, really great skills.
Yeah.
Expressively, that's the hardest part,
Right.
right? Her
Right.
expressive communication is very delayed. I'm even fortunate that she's able to say many one word utterances to tell us how she feels, gestures, points, noises, all of that. But overall, she brings so much love and sassiness. She is sassafras lately, and secretively, it's nice to see that side.
Sure it is. Yeah, you want to see that and see what she's going to be like and who she's going to be and even when sometimes you're like, "What is that me?" You know?
Yeah,
But I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to see that developing and having it happen and having it happen naturally too.
right.
This is a big year. I mean, obviously it's a big year. Not only are we having a family conference in July and bringing everybody
Yep.
together, but clinical trials are happening and
Yep.
things are changing, right? We've been looking forward to this year for years.
For a long
And
time.
yeah,
Yes.
and now it's here and there's a lot of preparation underway. And I thought it was interesting when I interviewed you guys at the family conference
Mm-hmm.
last time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really interesting perspective because I said, "How are you feeling about all this? Like, what are are you hopeful? Are you looking forward to a treatment or a cure? What do you think?" And your response to me was, "It's scary. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what we're going to do when that happens, when that comes forward." And it was so refreshing because oftentimes you just hear, "Yeah, yeah, we can't wait. It's great. It's going to be wonderful." But like it was so refreshing because it was such an honest answer of, "Well, once we're faced with a treatment or a cure, I don't
Don't
know
know.
what we're going to do,"
Right.
because we love this little person the way she is now. Ashley was so pure.
Yeah.
Do you still feel the same way?
My answer is still the same.
Yeah.
I don't know because I've allowed time and patience. And with time and patience, she has made progress. Of course, lots of therapies, lots of support, but she is making progress. So I still don't know because I'd like her to get at an older age so I can really see
Yeah.
what skills and what Ivy has. So my answer is still the same in that regards, but I'm so amazed at
Yeah.
how far you guys have come in such a short time, and so thankful for
Yeah.
those who do have that answer as yes, I can't wait for these clinical trials. I do want my child to try that for that bus
Yeah.
to start moving and start going.
I just think it was so honest and
Yeah.
there's so much that's so rare. And I appreciated it so much in that moment because I thought, wow, wow. Here's this person that, you're saying like, I'm excited for that option to be there, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there and see what we think because,
Right.
we'll see. Um,
Right. Right.
I just think it's an interesting perspective on it and a good thought process for a lot of people to be thinking through it too. And I think I'm sure there's more people thinking that way than we think.
Then maybe say so. Yes.
Right.
Right.
But
Right.
it was an honest way for you to say it out loud.
Yes. 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 I can't wait to see everybody. Like,
Oh,
I was so excited the first time, and then I was nervous, and then I was scared, and I still feel the same, all
yeah.
of those feelings all in one. But it is amazing that we have that. One of Ivy's good friends also has a disability, a diagnosis, and she doesn't have a network like we do. And
Yeah.
I've sent her our podcast. I've talked her through things that I've heard through others. And
Yeah.
she just each day is so amazed that we have each other, because that is the biggest thing to get us through. And I tend to pass a lot of things along. I'll even forward stuff to her,
Yeah.
not because she is dealing with Jordan, but she has a child with needs, and
Yep.
she needs others to rely on and to fall on. And there are so many rare diseases out there that
Yep.
we are not alone. The more I talk about it, because
Yep.
I do kind of talk openly to others, the more connections are made. And the more I see that there are so many children, adults, kids with rare disabilities,
Yeah. And I think
diseases.
that's our hope too. Like that
Yeah.
makes my day because we've done some of these podcasts in hopes that they would get passed along to other people and
Yes.
try to bring some support along the way. And JGA has tried to pave the way for other organizations too to be able to build something on their own. And I really, really hope that your friend is able to find a
Yeah.
community like this. But watching our new families come into family conference. Now, it is overwhelming to say the least. I mean, there's so much information and so many people, and there's going to be twice as many this time. It's
Yes.
packed. But try to watch the new family's faces. I was watching yours, and you're watching some of these, and it's always tears, and it's
Yeah.
always like this kind of look like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
But by the end of it, you're all hugging and you're all, crying again because you're leaving each other. But
Yes.
um,
Yes.
what's your message for our new families? Because there's so many out there that are going to be listening to this and thinking like, what am I getting myself into here?
My message is do it, talk, tell your story,
Yeah.
share your everyday. That's what I want to hear. I mean, I love hearing trials and everything else, but I want to know what your everyday is like.
Yeah.
I want to know your struggles of putting on clothes, getting diaper, fed, right? All of those struggles that we go through every day that sometimes I don't even think about that anymore, just because that I just adapt and that's what I do.
Yeah.
But some of us moms left our first conference and we started meeting monthly. We would call in Zoom with each other. That has kind of faded because life is busy, but we will still send messages and connect with each other. And, I know those moms, but I don't know those moms, but I'll tell them my deepest, darkest fears.
Yes.
And it just comes out naturally through conversation. So,
and you're all on the same page. That's the thing,
Yes.
variations again, but pretty much on the same page.
Yes, yes. And just you are gonna love it. And you might be overwhelmed at first, as I was, because you just don't know. It's the unknown. And I look at JGA and everything we go through kind of as autism, Asperger's, right? There's a huge range of cognition, of language, of therapies, of everything that we're facing. So there's a large range that your child might have or not have those experiences. But I also always think you don't know what the future will hold, right? Like, I don't know. Ivy might not be having seizures right now, but that doesn't mean it's out of the picture. And it's always in the back of my mind, knowing and watching for some of this tougher, scarier things that could be happening.
Right. Well, and that's the thing, is that at some point, you want to be able to have that sounding board and have those people to ask the questions to and find out that the important steps and kind of go from there. And I think that that's really important. It's
Yes.
so important to see it and hear it and be able to have that the people.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for some reason my Zoom keeps popping away here. Uh,
Sure.
um
Lexi.
but it's awesome to see, and it's really wonderful to see everyone together and to be able to have those conversations and to be able to take something away from those conferences. Really,
Yes.
really have those conversations and connect and watch your kids connect and just try to soak it all in.
And be vulnerable, right? Be vulnerable. I don't know what this is. I'm struggling with this. What do you do? Can you help me? And we do. I'm a teacher. I'm a first grade teacher, and
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the things that I learned through my profession I can apply to my home life, my life, and with Ivy and my family. And it's okay to cry, it's okay to be mad, it's okay to yell, and it's okay to learn from it,
Yeah.
right?
Feel what you're going to
So
feel, and please feel it, because it's the perfect venue to do that in.
yes.
I mean, it's it's supposed to be for that, and get your questions answered. I guess that's the biggest push too, is
Yeah.
that, make sure that you're having those conversations.
And find your people. And if you're not sure because this is your first conference and you're feeling anxious or nervous, come to me. I'm
Yeah.
very social. Come to me. I'll help you through it. I've only had one to relate to,
Yeah.
but I'm looking forward to this next one and those for the future. So
Yeah.
just look around and find that person, make eye contact, and just go over and start talking.
Please do. And maybe this year we'll make you the queen of mom's night out. Get everybody going, huh?
Oh boy, I don't
Uh,
know. I could do it. I could
It'll
do
be
it. That was
fun.
fun last year too.
Yeah.
Us ladies had a great time.
Yeah, it'll be nice to have everybody together. I mean, I can't wait. I can't believe that we keep seeing numbers and registration numbers, and we're like, "Oh my gosh."
I know I keep reading the message. I'm on the Facebook, the group chat, and
Yeah.
everybody's putting all their questions and asking everything. And it's the hype. It's
Yeah.
making us all excited.
100%. Yeah, I mean, it's like, here we go.
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned the day to day, and I'm going to let you go in a minute because I know there's a million things
Sure.
happening. But
Sure.
for families who are struggling, who are listening to this and thinking, I try to be optimistic, I try to not lose my cool, and I try to look toward the future and think everything's going to be okay. But like, what's your message for them? Because the day to day can be hard. The day to day can be a struggle, and sometimes it's hard to put that in perspective too.
Hmm. That's a big question.
I
Let's
know.
see. My message would be you got to live one day at a time.
Yes.
You don't know what the future will hold. You have to have high expectations. It's going to take a long time to get there, but they can get there. And if they can't, you're going to have the support that you need through therapy, through friends, through family, through colleagues, whoever you find, you'll have the support and you'll find your group that loves your child like you love your child and is there to accept them for who they are.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to happen. It will happen. Stay the course, stick
Stay
with
the
it.
course.
And we're
Yeah.
all here for each other. And I think that
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes.
I am always in awe of your honesty and your candor. It won't anytime that we talk. I mean, you're so refreshing, and I hope we can do this again and have more conversations, maybe even after conference, and kind of talk through what you thought and who you met and what you've heard. And talk some more as time goes by, because I think that it's so important to have these conversations,
Yes.
and shed some light on what everybody is seeing and what they've been through and where they're going. Before I let you go,
Sure.
what's your hope for Ivy for the future?
My hope for Ivy, this is where I'll cry
I know.
every time. Okay. Let me get myself together.
I know.
All right. I hope that she can live in some sort of residence housing. Like, I love my daughter,
Yeah.
but I don't want her with me forever. I want Ivy to be independent to what she can be independent in. And I want her to live a successful life. In the way that looks, I don't know yet.
Yep. And it will happen. And so many of the families with older children are
Yep.
living proof of that right now.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
happening. It's happening. And, clinical trials are coming, big things
Yes.
are happening, and the future is really bright.
And I don't mean to be selfish. I don't mean to be that mom
No,
who's saying, I don't want my daughter with me
no,
for the rest of my life. Like you almost feel terrible, like saying that, but think about your kids when they grow up and they're having jobs and getting married and having their first home. Like, I want all those firsts to her. Will they look different? Probably. Will they be different? Probably. But I still want those opportunities
absolutely.
for her.
And for those who are listening, I don't know if you've heard it yet either, but Randy Halverson came on and did a podcast with us talking about what it's like to have an older child. And she was so brutally honest about what they'd been through, and putting, Jessica in a facility where she could live an independent life. And they had to manage this and figure out where to put her, and how she was going to live, and make sure it was with the right people. And she said the same thing. I felt terrible, but I also knew it was the best thing for her. It's that push pull of like, what do you do and how do you do it? But she's living proof that
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes.
And she's thriving.
Yes. I need to watch that because I
Yeah.
haven't. So yes,
Yeah.
I need to watch that
Yeah.
and know. And my background before I had a daughter with special needs was in special ed. So I get a lot of messages that say you are the right mom for her.
Yeah, you are. I don't know
You're
why.
the
I have no idea why the thumbs up showed
thumbs
up right there, but we'll take it. It's true,
right when I said it, right? Like, Ashley, yes, the days might be hard. Yes, you might be frustrated. I find myself yelling. I find, sleeping. I didn't even talk about, but we're having a sleep regression, and
Ugh.
you feel guilty sometimes that the mom guilt sets in late at night. You're laying there and you start fresh each day. That's all you can do. Wake up, be the best you can be, start fresh, and believe.
100%. She's lucky to have you. She's lucky that you have the background, that you have the patience, and that you have the optimism for such a bright, bright, bright life ahead. And sweet girl. She's gonna do great things. So
thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
And thank you. I mean, I really, really appreciate it so much. And I hope our families listen and love this too, and really get to take something from it. I mean, that's the whole point here, is let's everybody tell our stories so that we can share them together and feel more connected.
And I look forward to hearing other stories as well.
Good. I can't wait to see you in July and give you a big hug. And it's going to be so great. And in the meantime, we're just going to keep planning away and make this extra special. So
Perfect. I'm trying
you.
to extend our stay a little bit. We want to maybe go to a baseball game.
Yes.
There's a lot to do in Boston. So I'm hoping to extend.
There's plans happening too.
Yes.
For the baseball game. So keep that in mind also. So
I probably should look back at my messenger, because I'll get these messages.
Yeah, check the newsletter today. It's in there.
Okay, I will.
It's in there. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you again really soon.
You sure will. Thank you, Christina.
Of course. All right, everybody. If you have not heard our podcast, please take a minute and listen. They're on all of the podcast platforms, also on our website, jordansguardianangels.org, and on YouTube as well. Translation services are provided there for our families around the world, so that everyone can listen and understand and be a part of the conversation with us. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you again real soon.